1480 KCIM Sports presents KCIM Sports Rewind. A look back at the week in high school sports. Brought to you by St. Anthony Rehab Services. Here's Sports Director Jeff Blankman, John Ryan, and Jeff Honnold.
Welcome back, KCIM Sports Rewind with you once again this week. We got full championship action to talk about. The Kemper Knights with the state volleyball championship, bringing that back home to Carroll. First time, actually, for the Kemper Knights in that state championship, so we'll relive some of Blankman's memories of that. I assume you can remember last week.
I can. No, it's perfectly fine. Yeah,
He's getting up there in age a little bit, so we just try to check before we.
I will say that the 3 games, over 3 days, they kind of run together on you a little bit, but I think I can break them down enough to be all right.
Well, the crew you run around with, there's some things ran together there too.
So we'll talk about that coming up. But we are first going to start with the football season wrapped up around the area, and 2 teams fell just shy of the dome: Arweva and the South Central Calhoun Titans. Great story involving the South Central Calhoun Titans, Jeff, and their kicker, Zane Newbaum, who's on the phone with us right now, and we're going to talk with him in a second. But set this up for us. Zane, a junior, you've known him for a number of years, has been multiple sports star, great kid. Out with a mission this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, everybody probably knows the story of J.C. McAlexander, who passed away after battling cancer for years up there at South Central Calhoun, and he was a part of the football team and just part of the family that was up there, and Zane will probably explain it a lot better than I did, but Zane came up with a great idea of how to raise some money for the efforts, and we'll let Zane kind of talk about that.
Yeah, we're going to bring on Zane Newbaum right now on the phone. First of all, Zane, you're not skipping out on class, are you?
No.
Oh, come on. What good is a radio interview if you can't miss out on like a math class or something?
Yeah.
Let's talk about your season. First of all, obviously, Zane, J.C. McAlexander, special to you. Talk about your relationship with J.C. and why you wanted to put this effort together.
Well, J.C. and I were really, really good friends, I thought. And J.C. was good friends with everyone on the football team and pretty much everyone in the whole school. And so when I came across this, I was actually at a kicking camp down in Wisconsin, and they brought up this Kick It for Cancer, and I really thought, this was something I needed to do because JC was so giving, and even when he had cancer, he was still giving. And so it really felt like this was just an opportunity to try to, live in his footsteps and just try to give back like he did.
Now, I know you guys carried out his jersey for the coin tosses, things like that. He was the manager for the team. What was his presence like for the team for the season? I mean, everybody's team on the team felt this.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, he was always in the back of our minds. We were always playing for him, and even during our lows and highs, we were always thinking of him no matter what. So he was with us the whole season too.
Zane, Jeff Blankman here. When you brought the idea back to the coaching staff and Coach Case, what was their response?
They thought it was a good idea, I think. I don't know. They were all very supportive, though, throughout the whole season. I'm really thankful for that, too.
Well, Zane, they must have been. This is Jeff Honnold here. South Central is not known for kicking a lot of field goals. A lot of times they went for 2, so you must have had a pretty good influence on at least going for the extra points and kicking field goals.
Yeah, I hope I did. I'm just, we all have our own roles on the team, and I think my role is just to kick. And so if I can do that to the best of my ability on our team, I think he'll allow me to do that.
Now, you put the pressure on yourself with the whole points and donations kind of tying that together. What was the initial response you got from people when you rolled this out? Did it spread really quickly, or did it take a little time for people to catch on to what you're doing?
I think at first it spread pretty quickly, and then I think it kind of, I don't want to say died down, and then it kind of went away for a little bit, and then I think some other people got introduced, and they helped spread the word again.
Zane, how were you able to focus during the games, knowing when you were going out to kick an extra point or attempt a field goal, kind of what this was all entailing? It was more than just a football game for you this year.
Yeah, when I would kick, it wasn't about me at all. It was, it was for the team, and it was for JC, and it was just for other people, and that's kind of how I thought of it. And so I wanted to do a good job for them, not for my stats or anything.
Now, you started with a goal of $1,000. Talk about that goal when you reached that. What were you thinking? And give us the totals of what you were able to accomplish this year.
At first, when we reached $1,000, I don't exactly remember. It was early in the season, and I was very happy with that. And I was thinking maybe we could get 2,000. And then eventually, I just actually found out this morning that we'll be over 9,000.
Wow. Congratulations.
Amount.
So Zane, are you guys continuing to raise money? How can people contact you to help donate if they want to do that?
We are still raising money until, I believe, Sunday is the last day, but we'll still accept checks after that and donations like that. And what was the other question?
How do people contact you if they want to donate?
I believe it's on the SEC Titans page and the football page, and it's also on the JC Strong Facebook page, and it's also on my Twitter page.
So lots of ways to get a hold of you. Now, talk about some of the people you talked to who donated. I'm sure this cause hit very close to home with a lot of people who donated.
Yeah, I had a lot of people. They came up to me and talked to me and just said they wanted to help out. And any amount helped. It didn't matter if it was $10, if it was $100, or whatever it was. It was all helping towards the cause. And
Zane, where's the money going to? Who are you guys giving this money to, and what organizations?
It is run through Alex's Lemonade Stand, and then it'll all be going towards children's cancer, and I will actually have them probably send it towards Ewing sarcoma, which was the kind of cancer that JC had, and so it'll probably go to that cause.
What have you learned from all this, Zane? I mean, obviously, you went into it with a modest goal of $1,000. You blow through that. What life lessons have you learned from all of this?
I've learned that we have an amazing community, and everybody's just been so supportive, and that everybody knew JC and really wants to help out for him.
Zane, are you guys going to be looking to continue to do something for this cause, or going to bring it back next football season? You going to do anything through the basketball season or anything?
Nothing right now for the basketball season, and I don't think we've decided yet for next season. This season just really seems special because it would have been JC's senior year, so this really just seemed like the perfect thing to do, and so, but we haven't decided yet for next year.
Well, I tell you what, fantastic effort this season. Over $9,000 raised when the goal was originally just $1,000. So your football season is done for the years. I didn't go as far as you guys wanted to. You wanted to be able to get to the Dome. But talk about this season and what that meant for you guys at South Central Calhoun. You guys had your battles, injuries, and all through that. You guys seemed to fight together as a team.
Yeah, I mean, we really wanted to go to the Dome, but I still think we're pretty happy with how we did. Every game was a battle, and, yeah, we had lots of injuries and stuff, but I really think we fought through all of them well, and even though we didn't get to the Dome, I think everyone could still say we had a pretty good season.
Zane, short turnaround for you guys. Started basketball practice yesterday. How are things looking for the basketball season?
I think they're looking pretty good. We didn't lose any senior starters, and we have a lot of returning players, and it just seemed like we only added to the team. So.
How's your three-point shooting going so far?
Oh, it's looking good.
Just like always.
Yeah.
Zane, fantastic job this year. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. We sure appreciate it. Great job, and congratulate everybody on the team and all the people who donated. Just a phenomenal effort. A chance for you to say a quick thank yous. Do you want to say thank you to anybody out there?
Yeah, thank you very much to the whole community for helping support this. And thank you to my team for helping and being with me through the whole time. Thank you to the field goal unit that allowed me to do this.
Fantastic job, Zane. Now get back to class.
All right, thank you very much.
Zane Newbaum. Thank you, Zane. Zane Newbaum from South Central Calhoun joining us on the phone this morning. What a phenomenal kid. What a phenomenal effort. I mean, $9,000 raised when the goal was $1,000.
Yeah.
We should all know how to do things like that in our lifetime.
It tells you how much that JC meant to that community and the pride that community takes. And for Zane to come up with the idea at that kicking camp and to bring it back and do what he was able to do just says a lot about that young man's character as well.
Says a lot about that program, too, led by Brian Case. I mean, there's a great example of somebody who really sets the tone for the rest of his team.
Family. It's absolutely a family up there.
All right. So with that, again, congratulations, Zane Newbaum, on a terrific effort this year. We got a state championship to talk about. Kemper volleyball team, tell you what, they made it a little interesting against Osage in that semifinal round. We'll talk about that next on KCIM Sports Rewind.
About an injury or prevention and treatment programs, call St. Anthony Rehab Services. Our staff of therapists and trainers provide professional advice on treatment programs to best suit your therapeutic needs. To be your best, you must expect the best. St. Anthony Rehab Services, 794-5000.
More money, more fun.
$500.
It's KCIM's Christmas Carroll Bingo with $500 in bingo bucks up for grabs. Bingo cards will be available at exclusive sponsor locations starting Black Friday. But be warned, they're in limited supply, so you got to get your cards right away.
Did we say $500?
Bingo number calls will start November 28th. Get a bingo and you're eligible to win the $500 bingo buck grand prize.
$500.
Play Christmas Carroll Bingo with 1380 KCIM. 1380 KCIM Sports Rewind, brought to you exclusively by St. Anthony Rehabilitation Services. John Ryan, Sports Director Jeff Blankman, Jeff Honnold along with you. Championship, Kemper Knights, #1. They've been waiting on this for a long time. Wow. 7 of Keith Stickrod's first 10 years in the state tournament. That shows you how hard it is to climb that hill and be on top at the end.
Yeah, and second trip to the finals. Got there in 2013. It would have been Claire Ludwig and Morgan Neighborhouse and that crew that would have gotten into the finals.
Wow, you do have a memory.
I do, yeah.
Because it's on the board inside Kemper's gym.
Haven't been in the gym for a couple of weeks. But no, part of it was because I talked to Morgan Neighborhouse up at the state tournament this week and asked her what year what was. But, so congratulations. This is a team that had a lot of pressure on them to start the year. Came in #1.
Yeah, wire to wire.
Yeah, everybody anticipated them winning the state championship. I think a lot of people thought they'd have a legitimate chance to go undefeated. Came very, very close to being able to do that. Bounced back from that loss to St. Albert extremely well during the regular season. Got huge wins against Sergeant Bluff Luton and Unity Christian, a couple of state tournament teams up at the Unity Christian tournament, down 1-0 to both of them, and to be able to battle back and get some wins kind of showed the character of this year's team.
I've had a lot of time at the deer stand to think, so it's not really good for anybody. But think about this now. They won a state title and did not win their own conference.
Yeah.
I mean, how odd is that? I mean, this team dominated everybody pretty much all year long, a couple tournaments here and there, but they were dominant, and they didn't win. They ran the table at state other than the one game and still didn't win their own conference.
Yeah, lost 9 matches total, or 9 sets, I should say, total throughout the entire season. So it says the quality of this team. And I think probably the difference maybe with this team and in past year's team, and you heard Amy Adams and Kara Peter and everybody talked about it, they were really a tight-knit group. They hung out together. They cared about each other. Keith talked about it in the postseason wrap-up interview I had with him yesterday. There wasn't anybody that was worried about kind of their own numbers. It was really about winning the championship and about being a team. And I think that helped them battle through that semifinal round win. They're down 2-1 to Osage. Did not play very good volleyball in sets 2 or 3. But somehow were able to kind of find themselves late in Game 4 and bring home a championship.
Yeah, in fact, they said that afterwards. They said normally in the past, if we were down 2-1, we would have folded tent and gone home. This year, different. These girls knew that they could battle back. They knew that they could come back. So they turned that semifinal match into one of the most thrilling of the whole tournament.
Keith and I talked about, I think last year's team probably had more pure talent. You had more players on there, but this might have been his best team. They functioned. You'd watch that front row go to block, the back row would swing around the right way.
Yep.
If you understand volleyball, it was just fluid motion all the time, front to back, and just a beautiful team to watch.
Yeah, it was. And the win over Osage, Keith and I talked about it yesterday when I talked to him. I don't know if he's still quite over how they were able to come back and get that win down 2-1. That was the team that is kind of funny because when I talked to him throughout the summer and the off season, that was the team that he kept mentioning about they were going to have to get through.
So
and
he
knew. And I think they're the second best team in Class 3. I think they proved that in the semifinals. I think Keith is glad in a way they got him in the semis rather than in the finals, honestly. Not that they would have lost to him in the finals, but that would have been a heck of a scary finals, I think.
But that was an interesting match because at Game 4, it kind of turned late. It tilted towards Kemper. They jump up big in Game 5. 5-0, and only to see that lead evaporate, and they fall behind late and had to battle back again.
Yeah, they've got a lot of great players on that team, but thanks to Kara Peter for rotating back in Game 5, and thanks to her for late in Game 4 kind of taking over, and that's the kind of special talent that she has. She's one of those players. Amy Adams, another one. She did it on Friday in the championship match, but if Kara doesn't do what she does late in Game 4, they may not get into a Game 5 against Osage.
I think that team was the one we talked about matched up hitting well with Kemper. I mean, they had the hitting talent to match up there. Past years, I don't know if Kemper passed back row well enough to do it.
Right.
They weren't great in that game. There's a lot of really good serves. I was watching the movement on those balls, and those were tough serves to pass. I think both sides of it, but I think this year's team passed better and got him through the hump. And I had a message. Somebody asked me from Tipton, what do you think? I said, you know what? Kemper got through Osage. I don't think you're stopping him now. I think that was the mental block that got him going through.
Yeah, 3 straight years losing in the semifinals. I think for that group of seniors, getting through the semis was actually more taxing in a way mentally than that finals game.
So they go into the finals against Tipton, the number 2 team, saying the number 2 seed in the tournament. And immediately you dropped the first game. Dropped the first set. And it was Kemper just wasn't quite into the match, you could tell.
No, it was nerves. Macy Overmull said it after the game. I had one of the officials sitting next to me that was grading the other officials that were officiating that game, kind of tapped me on the shoulder midway through the second game, which was funny because I was still broadcasting, so I had to whip the headphones off real quick because he kept tapping me and let Lonnie call it for a second.
Seriously, I'm broadcasting here.
And the only comment that he wanted to make to me was, this is the Kemper team I've known, and that was in Game 2. They just didn't play the way they were capable of playing in Game 1. Struggled in the back row. And it was interesting because I had somebody come up to me after the match and say, they had Keith mic'd up on the Iowa Public Television broadcast that day, and he called the timeout, and in the timeout he just told him, slow down, just slow down. And the girls knew what he meant. Some people were like, Kemper likes to play fast. Why is he telling them? It wasn't slow down. He was telling them to slow the mind down. They were just playing too fast in their brains through that first game, and they understood what he was talking about, and they fixed it in between games 1 and 2.
Trying to end points too early, trying to get that kill shot immediately and just and get on with it.
To your point, though, you were talking about nerves and passing. The one thing that you don't want to do is you'll see kids, they'll clench their fists, especially when they're younger. You'll see the white of the knuckles. That actually makes the ball do really funny things. So you really want to be softer. So that really makes sense when you said they were having trouble passing, because the nerves would come in. You're going to clinch. You're going to clinch up where you actually want to be more relaxed passing, and that causes some really bad things. I mean, that's the first thing we talked to a lot of the kids about, is just loosen your hands up.
Well, I know how they feel every Tuesday morning about 9:15. I start to clinch up.
You do. You can make diamonds over there.
But Amy Adams started to dominate in Game 2, but I do think it kind of started with Mallory Bading and Kenya Troush and Brooklyn Backey and stuff in the back row, and Amy in the back row as well. I talked to Amy about it. I said, teams really want to serve at you, and they've done that to her all season long. But we've talked about it all year long. She's developed herself into a really nice back row player. I mean, most people don't think about great hitters being able to transition into the back row and pass well, but Amy does that. But I know Coach mentioned Mallory Bading specifically in the postgame about how well she played, I thought, games 2, 3, and into 4.
I think she's really grown up. We talked about it a year ago. You and I have that. I thought she was going to be a really, really good back row player. I think she's really good now, and I think she's got another year to grow, and she could be very special back there.
And the thing I like about her is I think she's mentally tough. She's a competitive kid. She's one of those that will sit here and say, serve at me. Bring it to me. I want it. She's not going to back away from being challenged.
I think her next step now is reading. I think she does a great job of reacting to the ball and getting there and getting the pass up. I think what you're going to see her now is be able to adjust. That block, they've had it so easy. When somebody gets a touch on it all the time, you saw it during Osage, is that you needed to be in the spot. Well, you're not getting that block. You have to read that hitter. And I think that's her next step, is that probably needs to play with some smaller teams so that she gets to learn the read part of it. And then she'll dominate that.
Well, and she'll have a little smaller team to play with next year in Kemper. But
that's what I'm saying. So
losing some of that dominance of the net.
You know what, though? They got some tall kids coming in.
They do have some tall kids coming in.
And now, that's what I want to talk about, is that when Keith Stickrod wins a state championship, I mean, obviously his team wins a state championship, and the girls did everything. But, for Keith, he's been such a great coach for a long time, but I don't think you get the full recognition until you win that state championship. And now he's got that. Let's give him some credit for building a program that just reloads year after year after year.
Kemper was good, with Jeannie Spieler as the head coach. They were a very good program. Keith, I think, has taken them to a different level because of his willingness, and he told me yesterday, you can hear it on the interview that's on the website recapping this season. The season starts for him November the 25th. He will be out with the 4th grade through the 8th grade kids, taking AAU programs out. He'll have tryouts. They'll be out playing. The reason why his program is as good as it is, yes, he's got great players, but he developed those players at a young age, and he worked with them and helped make them into the players, and that's the reason why they've been in State 7 of the last 9 years.
Go watch his junior high teams. They are fearless swingers.
Yes.
I mean, he teaches them to swing as hard as they can wherever they're at. You don't just see that in the high school level. You see that down his junior high level, and he has spent, I don't know how many hours. People think it's just during the season. That guy spends hours, again, from November 25th. He comes in with this on Sundays. He's willing to help any kid that wants to learn volleyball. He will teach it. And he reloads. I mean, he reloads because he teaches those kids from 4th and 5th grade on his system, his way, and they trust it.
Yeah, and I asked him yesterday, I said, you guys going to be able to be there next year? You're losing a really good senior class. You've got some great young kids coming up. You've got some great returning talent. He anticipates they will be probably ranked in the preseason top 5 next year. That's the kind of respect that this program has.
Well, leads me into my next question. Let's a little preview of next year. I mean, who do you think has got enough talent coming back to make some waves next year? Obviously, Kemper's up there.
Kemper definitely. When you got a Kara Peter and a Mallory Bating in the back row, and that's not to take anything away from an Annie Niehaus that's going to be really good. I think you'll see. I watched Madison Leonard this year at the match down at Red Oak.
She's really good.
She's really good. Probably needs, as Keith said yesterday, work a little bit on quickness, and stuff. But she's either going to be a really great middle for them, or they could even move her right, I guess, because of her size. They've got options, and those kids buy into what Keith wants to do. Kenya Trausch now has got a freshman year under her belt. She just never seems to panic in the back row. Always seems to be calm. They've got some younger kids coming into the program, so I think they've got a chance to be really good. They may lose 2 or 3
games. I know they'll be down for them. They might lose 2 or 3, but
they won't probably have the same amount of wins, but I think they'll be very, very competitive. I look for a team like the Carroll girls. They're going to be losing some really good girls this year, but they've got some really good young kids coming into the program and stuff. They should be really good. I think Glidden Ralston's going to be strong again next year. They lose a little bit, but I think they'll strong. South Central will be an interesting team.
East Sac, another year under coach. They've got some nice young talent that's played a lot. So
absolutely.
I really think our area, you look at ICAM, I think our area, again, is going to be strong. I think we're going to have good volleyball, all the teams. But I think Kemper is going to be one of those teams that you just got to look at. I mean, Keith builds that program, and they're just going to be solid. They know what they're doing going in. I think the Carroll girls are going to have to find some hitters.
Yep.
You graduated some seniors. You're going to have some girls that are going to step up there. But there could be some teams in this area who make some pretty good runs.
Absolutely. And you mentioned Keith. I want to get back to a quick comment. He wouldn't put himself into the elite status and probably still won't because he hadn't had a state championship. He's competitive enough that I think he's always going to want to be the underdog because I think, even though he knows he was the favorite this year, I think he still has goals that he wants to reach. And I think that now around the state, I think he was always considered one of the elite coaches. I think now it's fully kind of be into that group of the elite coaches.
And I'm glad the girls won their title. I mean, they deserve, but more for Keith.
Yeah.
I mean, here's a guy that has put in the hours, the time, and the work, and the dedication to the love of the volleyball to get that. I mean, it couldn't happen to a better guy.
And those girls have, too. A lot of those girls have
they
played a lot of volleyball with him, from the time they were in 4th and 5th grade. So, they've put in the effort to be able to deserve that championship as well.
By the way, Sunday was the Rewind All-Star game, and our apologies for some of the ugly swings that were taken by some of the guys in that, especially the serving.
Yes.
Guys, seriously, did you not watch a volleyball game all year?
And I did try to tell the boys to transition, but a lot of them just tried to do the whole vertical, go up and swing as hard as they could thing. I did go over and ask Coach Stickrod. I said, hey, Keith, any of these boys able to play for you? And he goes, no, that was pretty ugly.
Some of them got some ups, though. I mean, they were getting
Brandon
off
Clare
the floor.
can get
I
off
saw
the
some
ground,
pictures.
yeah.
It wasn't just the swings that were ugly.
Yeah.
Jang, I think, had everybody beat.
Yeah,
man. He was.
Jang
was off the floor.
He's just an athlete.
Yeah, so that was fun Sunday. And look for the pictures on our Facebook page of the KCIM Sports Rewind All-Star event that
If
we
you
had.
ever get a chance to go to one of those, go. They are a lot of fun. The kids, you see nothing but smiles. It's all fun and games, and it's a lot of fun to be around them.
Absolutely. And looking forward to the basketball one coming up.
Speaking of smiles, I don't know if I've seen Keith smile all year. Did you see some of those championship pictures when he's posing with the kids?
Yeah.
That's the biggest smile I've seen on a sticker in a long time.
We got more. KCIM Sports Rewind. Basketball season is happening this week. We'll talk about that next.
Programs to best suit your therapeutic needs. To be your best, you must expect the best. St. Anthony Rehab Services, 794-5000.
1380 KCIM Sports Rewind, brought to you exclusively by St. Anthony Rehab Services. You can always catch a podcast after the program at 1380kcim.com. We're changing gears here. Basketball
After deer hunting,
season.
I might need different rehab services.
You may just need to quit deer hunting, is what you might need to do.
Is it called hunting? I do take a gun.
I think it's deer watching is what you're doing. When you don't bring anything home, I don't think it's hunting
There's
anymore.
been some power napping. I'm trying to figure out how to get my CPAP out in the deer stand.
Yeah, the deer aren't too worried when they flock to his forest.
Yeah. Don't worry, they just walk right by.
Same dude as last year. We're all right.
Let's talk basketball. We've got a girls' game coming up on Friday. East Sac County, Storm Lake. Taylor Huska, outstanding player for the East Sac County Raiders, entering the senior season.
Yeah, absolutely. The interesting thing for me this year for them will be, will they have more numbers? Last year played most of the year with 6 girls.
Yeah.
So will they have more numbers this year to be able to help her? They've got the great young talent, the Bailey Wallisons, the Maddie Quirks, the Bree Beckmans, the Josie Bontraggers. They've got a lot of good young talent that now's got another year under their belt. But it would be nice if they could have like a rotation of 8, and stuff to be able to help them out a little bit.
But
I
they need
think
to find that viable option other than Taylor, so teams can't swarm on her. But yeah, like I said, they've got talent. They've just got to have to step up a little bit more offensively.
Yeah, and I think they'll do that this year now that some of them have a full year of varsity action underneath their belt. So going to be interesting. That matchup with Storm Lake used to be kind of the team everybody's scheduled to try and get a win, but Storm Lake's now a much improved program, and it's going to be a tough matchup. So I look for ESAC though to be better this year. Not that they had a bad year last year, but I look for them to take another step forward.
I'm glad that Storm Lake is found something. I mean,
Me too.
They've struggled. Now their football teams have been doing well. Their athletic programs are coming back, and we need that in the area. We can't have these doormats around here.
Yeah. Let's talk about who else you think on the girls' side set up for a solid season.
Probably need to start with South Central Calhoun just because they're bringing back
Maddie.
4 starters from last year. They've got Maddie Jones, Heidi Hammond. They've got a really talented team. I think they've got a legitimate chance. They're dropping back into 2A to make another run. Last year losing in a regional final. I think they've got a chance to make a run at getting close to state or making it to the state tournament. They should be really good. You got Ike Manning, you got Gene Rasmussen. So I think they'll have the chance to be really good just because of Gene, and they've got some good talent. They lost a lot from last year, but Gene just seems to do a great job. Him and Joy Gross, his assistant.
I think one that's going to surprise you is the Carroll Tigers.
Like Carroll?
That group of kids, the juniors, seniors, juniors, and sophomores, have played a lot of basketball.
Yep.
I think they are going. Now they're going to get in that conference, and that conference is silly.
Right.
But so their conference record may not reflect, but I think you get into tournament time, They could be a pretty scary team.
Absolutely. I think they're going to be really good this year. I think Kemper's got a chance. Don't know for sure. Last I had heard Amy Adams not going out, so that'll maybe hurt a little bit to take a double out of that lineup. But, they've got enough to build around. I like Glidden this year. I think Glidden's got a chance. Arweva with Emily Danner and all those freshmen that are now sophomores, I think's got a chance to be a much
you put Emily Danner on a team, you're going to be in there.
Yeah, because she's about as competitive a kid as you're going to find.
She gets over half court, she's in range.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, she literally, I tried to guard her here a couple of weeks ago when she signed for Northwestern. and you had to go out and guard her because she was knocking down 25-footers and 26-footers.
Where is the video on that? Where is the video on that?
Video.
I'd watch that.
I stayed with her for the first step.
Yeah. And then you waved goodbye to her as she was on her way to the net. Yeah. So we'll talk boys basketball next week. We're out of time this week once again. But, again, catch a podcast available at 1380kcim.com. That's KCIM Sports Rewind, brought to you by St. Anthony Rehabilitation Services.
The best